All right, Nick, let's talk Utah Utes here for a minute. I think Utah has been very powerful team the past couple of seasons, obviously ending 10-4 this year, Pac-12 champions. This is a really good team, Nick, and we have some really good news for the Utes.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely massive what you've got, Mize. But before we get into the news, Utes fan, we want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Look, obviously, Pac-12 champs, back-to-back seasons, like Mize mentioned. Give us a game next season, a game you're really looking forward for Utah to come out and have a massive performance, whether it's against Southern Cal, a potential championship game rematch, or any other potential rivalry game or conference game. Let us know what game you're really interested in, really looking forward to next season in the comment section below. But all right, Mize, give us the latest. What you got?
Yeah, Nick. So obviously, we are aware that Utah quarterback Cam Rising announced that he is going to come back for one final season. Actually, it's last year of eligibility, so there wouldn't be a season after that. But he's going to come play for Utah one more year after originally stating that maybe the game against Stanford would have been the last home game at Utah. And Nick, we have even better news. Although we do know Rising tore his ACL in the Rose Bowl, he has come out and stated on ESPN radio that he is doing everything he can and expects to be back for fall camp and inevitably making him available for day one, game one of the season. Nick, coming back really quick from this ACL injury, obviously with modern medicine, everything going on nowadays, these injuries are able to be come back from much faster than they used to be. But how is this not some really good news for the Utah program to be able to start out the season with their starting quarterback, Nick?
Yeah, obviously it is because Rising's a special player. There's no doubt about that. But I think one of the things that I love about this guy is his ability to just persevere and just want to come back. He almost has that kind of chip on his shoulder, like, hey, I don't like the way it ended the last two seasons. Obviously gets hurt against Ohio State a couple years ago in that Rose Bowl. I think they probably win that game if he doesn't get hurt. Unfortunately, Utah ends up losing. How about they start the season off with a heartbreaking loss this past year at Florida? They really dominated that game. Rising throws a pick at the end of the game. They ended up losing. I really thought they should have won that game. And of course, this past season against Penn State, obviously Rising gets hurt, like you alluded to. So I look at the fact that I'm really excited that Rising wants to come back. It has that perseverance, that toughness, that grit. And I really think he's had this rematch game against Florida circled in his mind for a long time, because I think he rightly so agrees that game got away from him, the Utah Utes. I think they really dominated Florida down in the swamp. And I think he really hopes to start next season to be ready. He's really dialed in and focused to get there because he wants to send a statement to the college football world that Utah is a legit, not just Pac-12 power, but national power by dominating an SEC opponent right out the gate. I think Cam Rising is 100% rightly focused. And if I was a Utah fan right now, this would get me so excited.
Yeah, Nick, and going down the stretch, they have a chance to be pretty special in the rankings next year because if you look at the schedule, you got Florida, who's going to be probably ranked pretty high at the beginning of the season. You've got Baylor, who's going to be, a decent team. They're always somewhere around there. You got UCLA, Cal, Southern Cal, Oregon, who could be huge this year. And then you finish it off the end of the season with Colorado, who, with Deion Sanders there, we don't know if they're going to be national championship caliber, if they're going to be bowl game caliber, or if they're going to be back to the one-win team that they were. But they are a true wild card, and it could be a big game scheduled for them at the end of the season. But if Cam Rising puts on a good performance, Nick, Utah could find themselves, toeing the line potentially, for that college football playoff spot.
Yeah, I agree. And you look at a team, right, that they dominated Southern Cal in the Pac-12 championship game, right? Like I said, they should have beaten Florida. This is a team that can hang, talk about last year. This is a team that can hang and beat with the best, the elite coaches, the elite competition in all of college football. Obviously, having a healthy Rising would be absolutely critical. I think Whittingham has obviously done an outstanding job with the Utah program for a very long time. So I think they have a really strong chance to make a run at the college football playoff next season. I think they can be a national power. It's a tough schedule, though, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why Rising is so motivated to come back right out the gate because they got to start strong and maintain that over the course of the season. But I think they got a real shot at it, Mize. And I think that'd be one of the more interesting storylines for a long time for in college football because we're talking about, Texas is back, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, right? Utah, and in Pac-12, right? We don't hear a lot about them. The only thing you really hear out of the Pac-12 is Southern Cal, maybe Oregon every once in a while. So I think it'd be a really great story just throughout college football to have a team like Utah really take that next step and make a run at the playoff.